How you guys doing? This will probably be a quick one. We're talking about the Chicago Street Course. I'm talking about this strictly from a DraftKings, DFS, betting. If you want to do any of that stuff, whenever I'm talking, I'm looking from it from that regard. Let's talk about the good things first. I think this will probably happen at least 2 years. I doubt this will be a one and done. We're gonna have a lot of new viewers on NASCAR. That's just how it's going to be. A lot more people focused in on this. I even brought out one of my older Bubba Wallace. This might be a Darrell Wallace shirt. I'm pretty sure the back of the shirt says Darrell Wallace before Jack Roush let him use Bubba. Because at some point there's a time where Jack Roush was like, I ain't using Bubba. That ain't your legal name. I ain't never used nobody who ain't had a legal name on their shirt. So this says Darrell Wallace on the back. Um, you know, he's having his big old block party yesterday. A lot of good community efforts being brought into Chicago. I think it's a fun thing for that little community for the small city of Chicago. That's really about it. If you're ready to pay an arm and a leg, I don't know how a family of four even affords to go to this race. You're spending like $2,000 on tickets. So from like that point of view, I'm sure it'll be a success in NASCAR's eyes. Racing, DFS, betting standpoint there, I can't make heads or tails if this is going to be a disaster or something good. The racing's going to be pretty dog shit. If you like F1, you should enjoy this race. I doubt we'll see many lead changes. I doubt we'll see many guys coming from the front of the field to the back of the field. We're taking these stupid fast, very heavy stock cars, basically just throwing them into 90-degree flat turns the entire time. Okay, so with very little runoff room, I expect that we're probably going to see, if you remember back in the day when we had the first Roval at Charlotte, if you remember that chicane down the back straightaway that people just kept whacking into the tires, I would not be shocked to see people over jump corners, completely miss the apex, hit the outside wall on the exits of the corners. This should be a pretty chaotic race, probably from like fourth to like probably 18th, because you're just going to see a stack of cars kind of funneling through, and then you're going to get single file. And once everything goes single file, there should be very little passing in both races. I envision, just off the top of my head right now, that we should see probably the pole sitter have the best chance of being optimal in both the races for the two series this weekend. When you're looking at their pit selection, when you're looking at the fact that they are, we're not throwing yellows at the end of the stages, the fact that the pole sitter and the guy who carries the restarts is going to have the best advantage leaving the field. The restart zone is, I'm pretty sure it's not on the front straightaway, it's in that corner, so NASCAR is trying to give everybody a chance to kind of spread out so we don't just have a freaking wall of cars flying into turn one, but it's still going to happen. If we've watched, just all you got to do is watch the Indy road course, watch the first Roval race, watch any of these racetracks with a hard 90-degree corner, watch Portland. People just don't make the first corner at Portland. Well, guess what? There's a wall on the other side of this one. So if you're like me and if you've been tired of dealing with the rumble strips, dealing with the turtles, I've just said before, just put a fucking wall there, and people try and make the corners. And if they don't, they don't. Anyway, a lot of rambles, a lot of stuff. I'm going to be live for both races before. I'm probably going to play very little, probably 1 to 4 lines. I'll probably just do 4 lines for each one. Probably one lineup building traditionally. What I mean by that is, I want the pole sitter, I want the fast guys that I think are going to be up there at the end. I'll probably do one line specifically for chaos, specifically if this race turns into just a complete joke with place differential plays, maybe not necessarily like true back markers, but certainly built with the second half of the field in mind. And then to probably the rest of the 2 lineups, just kind of lean off of what I see in practice or what I think the race is going to lean more once I see the cars on track. I think that'll be a good summary of both approaches for at least for me building lineups this week. I would advise you to play light. Look, we got a lot of good races coming up. There's no reason to just piss away all your money on this NASCAR race here, on this NASCAR weekend, because we have Atlanta next. That'll be fun. Let me bring everything up here. Sorry. Look, we're going to Atlanta next, which is a track that It has been its own anomaly. The pole sitter's been optimal there a lot. We're still seeing place differential come through, but we're seeing if you start up front, you have a high likelihood of being optimal. That'll be interesting. I'll be building as if that just won't be the case, because we'll have a race at some point where the leader gets wrecked at the end of the race. We have New Hampshire next. We have Pocono later this month. We have Richmond. We have Michigan, Indy Road Course, Watkins Glen, and Daytona. Between August and July, this is the race that, in my opinion, you should have the least amount of interest on. You should put the least amount of money into. Move that stuff down the line. If you don't like Atlanta, move it to New Hampshire. Move it to Pocono. Move it to races to where you can have a better idea of what's going to happen when we have not only track history, but we have recent form to look at. Chicago, 100 laps. If the leader gets dumped, it's going to, especially if the leader leads like 60 laps and they get dumped at the end of the race, it's just going to be place differential coming through. 100 laps is the least amount of laps at the NASCAR Cup Series outside of the Indy Road Course, outside of outside of road courses that they run. So if whoever leads the laps, if whoever gets all the fast laps gets taken out at the end of the race, it just defaults to place differential. There is just far too much volatility for the Chicago Street Course for me to recommend you playing a lot. So as I said, I'll be live for both the races, but I'm playing light. That's just me. But yeah, I brought my Bubba Wallace shirt out. I'd like to see him get his first win here at Chicago. He's got a big fall in Chicago. There's been a lot of PR around him. I think it'd be cool to see Bubba Wallace finally get a win in NASCAR, because Bubba Wallace has just been so bad. He's been so terrible. He's one of the worst drivers out there. So hopefully Bubba Wallace can win his first ever NASCAR race this weekend. That'd be kind of cool at Chicago. Either way, I'll see you guys Friday. I'll see you guys Sunday for the live show. See you guys then.